Hi guys, and welcome back to the Messy Bookshelf. Today I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up because I actually read enough books in February to do a wrap-up. As you know, last month I only read one book, but this month I read 6. So it's a 5-book jump from last month, which is impeccable. Now, I will say, many of these books were either started before the new year or before the month was last month was over, or I'm reading them for school. So I'm just gonna jump on in. I'm gonna start from the book that I finished first, and I'm going to work my way down. And I need my trusty Goodreads app to tell me what I rated these books. The first book that I finished is The Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. This is a book by Sarah Knight, and it is a practical parody of The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Now, I don't want to go too much in detail because I do have a full review on my blog, so if you want to know more about this, you can check it out there, or you can check out my review on Goodreads itself. But I highly recommend this book. I never really got into the whole life-changing magic of tidying up thing, but as soon as I found out about this one, I had to pick it up, and this book kind of convinced me why the life-changing magic of tidying up is actually a good idea to pick up, because this book, I think, changed my life. I stopped giving any fucks about stuff that I don't care about. If I don't care about it, then I don't hand out cares to it. The next book that I finished was actually for school, and it is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. This book is the 3rd fantasy book that I read in my fantasy and sci-fi class. It's my first Terry Pratchett book and my 2nd Neil Gaiman book, I believe. And I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and although it's a little weird and twisted, it's really good. It tells the story of, like, I don't want to say the main character is Crowley, but it kind of is Crowley. It tells the story of Armageddon or Rapture or the end of the world. Basically, heaven and hell have it planned that the Antichrist is being born, and there's this switch that happens, and then they lose him, and I don't really know what else to say without giving too much of it away. I probably gave it a bit too much away anyway. I just highly recommend this book, and if you have to read it for class, don't worry about it. You're actually going to probably like it. The next book I finished is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I picked this book up right in the new year because I had been told I needed to read it by many people, and it has a lot of love here on BookTube, so I decided to give it a shot. Unfortunately, because of school, it took me forever to read, and I think it kind of affected how much I enjoyed it, although I did really enjoy this book. I do have a full review up on my blog about this. Hi Beast, if you want to check that out and find out more of my thoughts on it. I gave this a 4 out of 5, and I will be checking out A Court of Mist and Fury in May. The next book is also one that I picked up for school, and it is I, Robot by Isaac Asimov. This is the movie cover, which I'm not overly excited about, but it's the only one I could find, so that's the one I went with. It's a bunch of short stories told by Dr. Susan Calvin, who is a robo-psychologist, and it talks about kind of like the robot's advancement, basically. The advancement of robots starts as something simple and turns into something terrifying. And I also have a full review up on my blog if you want to check that out. A lot of these I did write reviews for because I have just been loving these books, and I tend to do better with the writing reviews than the video reviews. So if you ever want to check out my reviews, check out my blog. I can't mention that enough. And the last book that I read this month is Nimona by Noelle Stevenson. Nimona, it tells the story of a shape-shifting villainess who decides to become the sidekick to her hero villain Ballister Blackheart. So this is Nimona, and she's the shapeshifter. This is Ballister Blackheart, and this is his nemesis, Goldenloin. And this is hilarious, emotional ride. It says on the back, Nemesis, Dragon, Science, and Symbolism. If the artwork kind of looks familiar, you might recognize Noelle Stevenson from the artwork on Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, who is also blurbed on the front cover. This is it. Although it did not win the National Book Award, it was nominated, so that enough should tell you how fantastic this book is. And I probably will have a review up very soon on my blog. Again, on my blog. And the final book, I actually don't own a physical copy of it because I listened to it, and that is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This is a 32-hour book, and I started it before New Year's Eve, and I finished it yesterday, and it was the most beautifully devastating book I have ever read in my life, and I highly recommend it to everyone, and I will probably be buying the paperback so I can reread it every year. If you read this book, make sure you are in a good place because, like I said, it's very devastating. The last chapter, I spent crying. It was a good thing that I was home alone when I was listening to it. Basically, this story tells the life of Jude, JB, Willem, and Malcolm, who meet in university in their 20s, and it tells the story of their friendship until the very end of the book. That's all I'm going to say about that. I am planning on writing a review for this one as well. I need to gather my thoughts first because it is such a hard-hitting book and it kind of hits you right in the feels. But I highly recommend it. It's such a good book. It's so moving and beautifully written, and I even suggest listening to the audiobook because the narrator does such a perfect job. I absolutely enjoyed the experience. So those are the books that I read in the month of February. Let me know down in the comments what books you read in the month of February, or if you have read any of these before and your thoughts on them. Just hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more of my videos, and I will see you next time. Bye!